Hey, what's up everybody? It's the Dude and I am back. I'm sorry I took a long break. It just felt right and now I am back to a good state so I can make some more best PC build videos. Now, since I took a long break, it's only appropriate that I come back with something pretty big, so I have something pretty big for you guys. I think you'll enjoy it, and it's my first PC build on this channel. So yeah, I am announcing that we have a PC build, a $750 one. Now, it isn't mine, but I will get some benchmarks done on this PC. However, this video is only about the parts and what you should be buying for $750. So without further ado, this is the best $750 computer you can get in September of 2018. So starting off, for the CPU, we have AMD's Ryzen, I call it Ryzen, I just can't stop getting out of the habit of it, but Ryzen 5 1600 3.2 GHz 6-core processor. Now this will not be bottlenecking your graphics card, obviously, and it will be able to run anything you want. It's a very good mid-range processor, nothing too overkill. Now, a Ryzen 7 would just be, if you want to render a bunch of videos really fast and stuff like that, but this will be perfect for a gaming rig. You'll have no problems with this AMD Ryzen 5 processor. Now for the motherboard, we have a pretty basic one. We have the MSI B350 PCMate motherboard. Now this will just hold all your parts together if you're not too informed on how PC builds work. It just holds all your parts together. It's not that important of a piece. You could settle for something cheaper, but this is an easy ATX motherboard for $60, which is really decent, especially since it has a $15 off promo. So if you're going to buy any parts right now, I'd suggest you get this MSI B350 PCMate first, so you can get that easy $15 off and snatch this for $60. Another cool thing I noticed about this motherboard is that it has small white LEDs running along the left side of it, which is a cool little touch, I guess. Nothing too fancy, but it's there. Next up for the RAM, we have Team T-Force Delta RGB 2x4GB of DDR3000 memory. So that means we have 3000 megahertz of DDR4 memory. This is actually really good. You probably have never heard of T-Force, but it works very well in the build at its full speed. Now you definitely could have settled for 16 gigabytes of RAM. It just didn't feel necessary for this build since the person I was building it for didn't really need 16 gigabytes of memory, especially since they have such a great graphics card that can handle just about every game. Next up, we have the storage. We have some pretty basic storage here. Now let's remember that we should have SSD cards in every single build nowadays. So in this build, we have the Kingston A400 240 gigabyte solid state drive for $45. Now this is not a bad deal at all, $45 for a quarter of a terabyte, not too bad. You need an SSD so Windows runs fast, and you can have a lot of programs that can run it very speedily, especially games, so loading screens will be very fast if you have your game on this solid state drive. And our second storage device would be the WD Caviar Blue 500 gigabyte hard drive. Now I chose this one because if you have other files or games that won't be able to fit onto your Kingston SSD, which eventually you won't be able to have everything on a 240 gigabyte drive, you'll put the rest on the WD Caviar Blue 500 gigabyte hard drive. Be able to open files as fast as the SSD card. It's storage and nonetheless, and you're going to want at least 700 gigabytes of storage if you're going to have this as your main PC. Next up for the video card, we have AMD's MSI Radeon RX 580 8GB of VRAM graphics card. Now when I got this graphics card, it was $220, now it's $238, which is $18 more, which isn't too bad, but it's still a great graphics card for the price nonetheless. And keep in mind, it has a $20 mail-in rebate right now, so if you're going to get any parts first, you should totally go for this one, so you can get that mail-in rebate before it goes away. Now this is the top of the line 500 series AMD graphics card. The 580 with 8GB of VRAM will easily be able to run any game you want to play at 1080p, so you won't have to worry about upgrading for a very long time with this incredible graphics card for such a decent price. Next up for the case, we have NZXT's H500 white ATX mid-tower case. Now I've always liked white cases on my builds, so I chose this one. You could totally go for any other case you want, but this is the one I chose just because it looks good to me and it matches with the build pretty well. Also, I've always liked NZXT's cases and they've always been the best to me. So if you're gonna get a different case from a different color, I do recommend NZXT. And let's move on to the power supply. So for the power supply, we have EVGA's BR 500 watt 80 plus bronze certified ATX power supply for $35. So this obviously doesn't have the ugly colored cables. I make sure it's like that on most of my builds if it's not a budget build. So yes, for $35 you're getting a pretty good looking power supply, and this power supply will allow you to have some upgrades. If you're going to upgrade to something like a 1080 Ti or something like that, you should probably get a better power supply, but this will easily be able to handle all the things we're putting into this build. Now there are some RGB fans and peripherals we did add to the build, but I'm not going to mention those until my next video where we benchmark the computer. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. If you like the video, drop a like. If you like the content you're seeing, please drop a sub. It really helps out the channel and helps me grow and get motivated to make new videos. And comment if you have any comments or questions. I'll try to answer any questions I receive as fast as I possibly can. Thanks for watching. Peace out.